Hello everyone, this episode will be about Microsoft Patch Tuesday for November 2022, including vulnerabilities that were added between October and November Patch Tuesdays. As usual, I use my open-source Vulristics project to create the report. The most important news of this Patch Tuesday was a release of patch for ProxyNotShell remote code execution in Microsoft Exchange, CVE 2022-41040, CVE 2022-41082, mentioned in the previous episode. These vulnerabilities became public on September 28th, and updates for this vulnerability did not appear until November 8th. Microsoft could have acted more quickly, but it's good that the problem with these actively exploited vulnerabilities is finally solved. But besides ProxyNotShell, this November Patch Tuesday had a lot of interesting vulnerabilities. Let's take a look. All vulnerabilities: 82, urgent 1, critical 6, high 19, medium 56, low 0. Let's start with vulnerabilities for which there is an exploit or signs of exploitation in the wild. Remote code execution in Windows scripting languages, CVE 2022-41128. Critical remote code execution affecting the JScript9 scripting language, Microsoft's legacy JavaScript dialect used by their Internet Explorer browser. It has been exploited in the wild, and successful exploitation requires a user with an affected version of Windows to visit a malicious attacker-controlled server. In doing so, the attackers would get their code to execute on an affected system at the level of the logged-on user. The existence of a public exploit is mentioned in Microsoft CVSS temporal score. Functional exploit. Security feature bypass in Windows Mark of the Web, CVE 2022-41049, CVE 2022-41091. MoTW is a security feature used to tag files downloaded from the internet and prevent them from performing certain actions. Files flagged with MoTW would be opened in protected view in Microsoft Office, prompting users with a security warning banner, asking them to confirm the document is trusted by selecting Enable Content. A malicious actor could craft a file that could bypass MoTW, quote, resulting in a limited loss of integrity and availability of security features such as protected view, end of quote. The existence of a public exploit for CVE 2022-41049 is mentioned in Microsoft CVSS temporal score, functional exploit. Exploitation in the wild is mentioned on Vulners, Attacker KB, and Microsoft websites. Remote code execution in OpenSSL, CVE 2022-3602. The vulnerability assigned to this CVE is in OpenSSL software, which is consumed by the Microsoft products listed in the security updates table and is known to be affected. Azure SDK for C++, VCPKG, Microsoft Azure Kubernetes Service. The existence of a public exploit is mentioned on Vulner's website. Memory corruption in Microsoft Edge, CVE 2022-3723. This CVE was assigned by Chrome. Microsoft Edge, Chromium-based, ingests Chromium, which addresses this vulnerability. Exploitation in the wild is mentioned on Vulners and Attacker KB websites. Elevation of privilege in Windows CNG Key Isolation Service, CVE 2022-41125. An attacker can abuse this bug to run their code with system privileges. They would need to be authenticated, which is why bugs like this are often paired with some form of remote code execution exploit. Exploitation in the wild is mentioned on Vulner's, Attacker KB, and Microsoft websites. Elevation of privilege in Windows Print Spooler, CV 2022 41073. The legacy of Print Nightmare continues as threat actors continue to mine the vast attack surface that is the Windows Print Spooler. While we have seen plenty of other patches since Print Nightmare, this one is listed as being in the wild. Exploitation in the wild is mentioned on Vulner's, Attacker KB, and Microsoft websites. Now let's look at vulnerabilities for which there are no public exploits or signs of exploitation in the wild, but the descriptions of which are interesting enough to pay attention to. Elevation of privilege in Kerberos, CV 2022 37966. Successful exploitation of this vulnerability requires an attacker to gather information specific to the environment of the targeted component. An attacker who successfully exploited this vulnerability could gain administrator privileges. An unauthenticated attacker could conduct an attack that could leverage cryptographic protocol vulnerabilities in RFC 4757, Kerberos encryption type RC4, HMAC MD5, and MSPAC, Privilege Attribute Certificate Data Structure Specification, to bypass security features in Windows AD environment. Vulnerability Exploitability Assessment, exploitation more likely. Also pay attention to elevation of privilege in Kerberos CV 2022 37967. Elevation of privilege in Microsoft Exchange CV 2022 41080. The technical details are unknown and an exploit is not publicly available. Applying a patch is able to eliminate this problem. Elevation of privilege in Netlogon RPC CV 2022 38023. Exploitability assessment, exploitation more likely. The link to the full Vulristics report is available in the blog post. And that's it for today. Please subscribe and leave your comments. Bye.